Nothing Phone 2A is a fascinating mid-range device from Nothing, with its unique design and software. We've already shown you the unboxing and some video samples, as well as the official case. Now let's explore the setup process and software experience on this device. And there's a lot to see, since Nothing OS 2.5 is a very distinctive piece of software. To get started, we'll need a SIM ejector tool, and we can use this unique one which came with the device, notable for its glass bottom half. I'm moving my main SIM card from my long-term main device, the Google Pixel 8 Pro. Unlike the Pixel, the Nothing Phone 2A supports dual SIM cards. The SIM port is conveniently located at the bottom of the phone. Let's pop it out with the tool provided, and now let's install the SIM card with the pins facing up. Make sure it clicks into place. And let's put the SIM tray back into the device, aligning with SIM holes. Now let's power it on. There's the Nothing logo in that distinctive dot matrix font. It looks amazing as always. And there's the Android 14 logo as of the recording running on Nothing OS 2.5.4. Next up, we're greeted by a lovely red dot animation. I'm always impressed by Nothing's software aesthetics. Look at that massive red button asking us to continue. And with English UK pre-selected, let's click it. Time to log into Wi-Fi. Remember to keep your password handy. Now you could copy apps from another device, which can be useful if you're in a hurry or want to have everything done for you. But I prefer to start from scratch on my new devices. Next, we'll sign into our Google account. It's crucial for making the most of Google services. Since I have two-factor authentication enabled, I need to approve it on my Pixel. Now we can decide if we want to keep this phone's number updated with our Google account. Don't worry, it won't share your phone number publicly. Next, let's breeze through Google's terms of service. There's a lot to read, and yes, there will be a quiz at the end. We then have to decide on some Google services like device backup, use of location, Wi-Fi scanning and sharing diagnostics with Google. I'm skipping the last one, but it's up to you. Now it's time to pick a search engine. Sadly, no Perplexity AI yet, even though I got a yearly subscription for free on this device. More on that later. Interestingly, it says that Bing is now powered by GPT-4. I might test that later, but I'll stick with Google for now. Let's set up phone security. By default, it goes with a preferably 6-digit PIN, but you can change it by clicking on the screen lock options. Next is the fingerprint setup. The animation during scanning is great as always. I added both thumbs for convenience, as I sometimes use the left one as well. Interestingly, when I tried to add the right thumb again for better accuracy, it rejected it, which is promising. After a few weeks of use, I'm quite happy with the fingerprint scanner's performance. It's not the best I've used, but it performs well. You can also choose which notifications will appear on your lock screen, but I didn't mind showing them on mine. At this point, you can exit the setup if you're in a hurry and finish it later, but I prefer to do it in one go, so let's continue. Next, Google Assistant setup. If you've done it before, you might just fly through it quickly by clicking I agree a few times, assuming you want it enabled. We then get the choice of 6 options, including adding another email account, changing font size, and choosing wallpapers. I went with the red one, with the matching lock screen and atmospheric transitions enabled. It looks just great. You can also review additional apps like Google Home and Google Wallet, and unlike some other manufacturers, here you can decide what to install. I also set up always on display for good measure. We're almost done. After agreeing to Nothing's terms and deciding on some data sharing permissions, we get a short tutorial on gesture navigation, which was nice to see. And we're introduced to some neat animations showing off Nothing OS 2.5. There's also a short demo of the Glyph interface, which we'll discuss in a moment. And the very last step is the selection of the visual style of the user interface. You can go with the traditional Android one, with some usual icons and a single widget in the corner, or go with the nothing interface. I went with the nothing option to get the more native user experience. You get a lot more on your home screen, all in the black, white and red color palette. Analog clock and calendar at the top, a few app icons below, then a digital clock and weather widget, as long as you change the location, and then the usual Google app shortcuts. And there you have it, all set up in just 8 minutes, 2 minutes faster than the Samsung Galaxy A55. I'm really impressed, especially with the extra tutorials, something you don't often get with other manufacturers. Let's talk about the software design and user experience. As mentioned, everything is in black and white with red accents. Plus, it uses the dot matrix font wherever possible. As with past nothing devices, I really like the consistency of the design. Everything fits in, from the lock screen through the menus and the home screen. Even the icons are, by default, all in black and white. Unfortunately, not all apps support it, so if you install any non-Google or non-nothing apps, they might not fit into the color scheme. There are some custom apps like the sound recorder, which is also in the black, white, red color palette and it looks great. The camera app is also in the same color scheme and works great. Check our video test to see how it performs in real life situations. Similar with the weather app, and once you set it up, you'll also see the weather updates on the home screen. You can also configure it with measurement units, as well as weather notifications, which do come in handy indeed, especially here in rainy Scotland. After installing everything, it had 16 GB of storage used, which is not too bad considering that the Samsung A55 was using 22 GB of storage out of the box. One app that doesn't come pre-installed on the device is Perplexity AI search. During the pre-release of the device, you are able to get a yearly Pro subscription, which lets you use a number of latest AI models like GPT-4 Turbo or Claude 3 Opus to browse the internet and ask any questions you might have. It has since replaced Google for me in most cases and has been amazing. I might do a separate video about it. There's also an Android app, which works great as well. It was definitely worth pre-ordering. The setting menu looks great as well, and I love how it shows an image of my headphones. All the menus look great, like the battery screen or the display color selection screen. You can also control the display refresh rate, either 60Hz, 120 or a dynamic one to save battery when not needed, which is what I usually go with. But my favorite screen is the About Phone one, which has a photo of the device and all the important information, much more than most devices. Other UIs just show you things like RAM or storage, but here you get the battery size, screen type, chipset and camera specs as well. Great job, nothing. At the time of initial recording, mid-March, the phone came with the January security update, and now, mid-April, it's on February, so it looks to be 2 months behind Google, which is not too bad, but behind Samsung's A55 and way behind Google devices. Finally, let's talk about the glyphs, or the LED lights on the back of the device. This time there's just 3 around the camera, so there's fewer than in the previous models, but you can still control them through software. There's quite a lot of configuration options, some of which are quite useful, like showing the volume indicator, which I found to be quite a cool feature. Similarly, you can use it to view progress in some apps, but at the time of writing, it's just Uber and Zomato, and I haven't really had a chance to test it properly, as it's more of a gimmick. I do like that you can enable music visualization, so that it's always on, but I used it mostly to film some nice shots for this video, rather than in real life, and it's probably a waste of battery life. However, I don't think that Nothing Phone 2a is just form over substance. The software design is super impressive and very coherent, with the same font and color scheme across all the native apps. Plus, some are actually useful, like the audio recorder or some other apps. Luckily, the performance has been really good, with no slowdowns or other issues. While not as fast as flagship devices, nothing to complain about for a £319 device, and you should be able to play most games without bigger performance issues. We'll be releasing more videos about the Nothing Phone 2a soon, as well as comparing it with the Samsung A55 after my holidays in Greece, so if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to see more videos from us. But for now, thanks for watching.